Hi there. Today we are making jerk sauce for jerk chicken, jerk pork, jerk goat, whatever you want to make with it. You can as well use this if you want to marinate tofu or say jackfruit.
Prawns are good.
Prawns, but I was going for the vegan group there, dude. So absolutely prawns would work here, although I find prawns are a fairly delicate flavor, so I'm not sure I'd want to jerk them, because jerk is a very, very strong flavor or flavors, and I think it can be overwhelming for delicate foods. But for something like tofu that just doesn't have a lot of flavor of its own, same with the jackfruit, it soaks up the flavor, and you can make great vegan food that way. So basically, with jerk, all we're going to be doing is putting all the ingredients into the handy dandy food processor, pulsing it a couple of times, and that's it. So the recipe itself is not in any way challenging as long as you have some kind of food processor. I suppose you could probably use a blender as long as you don't overblend it. You're not looking for a smooth puree here. You're looking for something kind of chunky and just to blend the flavors and get them to mesh together. And then what you want to do is you want to marinate whatever protein that you're whether it's, goat or chicken, we're making chicken wings tonight, or tofu, you want to marinate it for a minimum of a couple of hours, but ideally overnight. So if you can make your batch of jerk sauce and keep it in the fridge and use it, it also freezes really well, but use it by marinating the night before, you'll be happy that you did. Now, jerk is a funny thing. It's a Jamaican dish, and people love to argue about what makes good jerk or not. Is ours authentic? Well, I suppose that's kind of hard to say. Are we Jamaican? No, we're not. Do we live in Jamaica? No, we're not. So what we've done is we've taken recipes. We've been having jerk chicken for years now. Rob actually is the one who usually makes it, and he's very good at it. What he's done is he's taken recipes from various different sources and eventually ended up making his own recipe by going, I don't like that so much in there or that in there. So this is our take on jerk, but it's different depending on whose recipe you go for. But there's some things that are always the same. And that is, so these are our homegrown habanero peppers.
More to the point.
There are more of them in there, okay? Now what I did was, all I did was cut the top off of them. These still have the membranes and the seeds in because we like that heat, but if you don't, take the seeds out. Now, the traditional recipe calls for scotch bonnet peppers. Scotch bonnet peppers are hotter than habaneros. So again, right there, we're probably not doing the most authentic version of this dish. But we find that habaneros are still, they're about half as hot as the scotch bonnets, but they have that similar really fruity scent and flavor to them. So when I cut these open, the very first thing that hit me in the face was this fruitiness to them. So it's not just about the heat, and it's the reason why you can't substitute, say, jalapenos or serranos for this, because they don't have that fruitiness, and that's what makes jerk. And both habaneros and scotch bonnets both have that, but they differ in their hotness, their Scoville units, which is how we determine how hot a chili pepper is. Other things that need to go into your jerk, I'm going to walk you through the spices here. This is cinnamon, ground cinnamon, white pepper, a little bit of ground clove. This is dry thyme. If we had some fresh right now in the garden, I'd be using that, and I'll put the measurements down below for both fresh and dried. This is freshly grated nutmeg. We buy the whole nutmeg and grate it ourselves because it tastes considerably better and different than if you buy a jar of pre-grated nutmeg, but it is a little bit more of a pain, takes a bit of time, but we think it's worth it. And this is the really, really important ingredient. That is ground allspice. Now, you can buy allspice ground. You can also buy it as an allspice berry that looks a little bit like, kind of like a cross between black pepper and a juniper berry, if you know what those look like. Allspice is absolutely essential to this. It grows in Jamaica. It is the flavor of jerk along with the fruity peppers. Apparently it's called pimento in Jamaica, which is not to be confused with pimento here, which is that red pepper that's inside of an olive. But it's because pimenta means pepper, and that's part of the Latin name of the plant that it grows on, so hence pimento. So basically what we're going to be doing, we've got some garlic here, we've got some fresh ginger, a little bit of salt, lots of green onions / scallions, soy sauce. Now this shows the merging of cultures that happens in Jamaica. You know, travelers from around the world, people who worked on boats brought their food and their food knowledge with them when they traveled. And so often in places like Jamaica, you have this mix of cultures, and therefore the ingredients seem like, wow, why is there soy sauce in there? But that's why there is. Onion, a neutral oil, this happens to be sunflower oil, brown sugar, some recipes call for honey and brown sugar. We've got just the brown sugar, lime juice from 2 limes, freshly squeezed, please. And then we have some cilantro here, about 6 or 8 stems of that. And all we're gonna do is pop it in here, blitz it a couple of times with pulse so it doesn't get too smooth, and then you marinate whatever, put it either in a tub or in a Ziploc bag, put whatever your protein is in there, pop it in the fridge and let it sit there for a minimum 2 hours, but like I said, overnight is best. So let's just get on this. Let's put the onions in, and they're just coarsely chopped. And I did the same thing with the ginger. It's a coarse, I peeled obviously and coarsely chopped it. Garlic, that's a fair amount of garlic because it adds a lot of flavor. And green onions or scallions are going in there too. And then I'm gonna take the cilantro and just rip it a bit so it's slightly smaller. Those lovely habanero peppers.
You might want to wear rubber gloves if you're handling those too.
Yes, I was very careful not to touch any of the insides when I was dealing with them.
Go to the bathroom afterwards. You could be in for a nasty surprise.
Yeah, chili peppers can do that. That's the brown sugar in there. All of those lovely spices. Lime juice. Soy sauce. Gosh, it smells so good already. You had your face over this, you'd be, oh, it's lovely. And then the neutral oil, the sunflower oil. Now the only thing I haven't put in here is salt, because we're going to salt to taste after we've done this bit. So pop it on and then
let her go.
Yep, a little bit more than that. Going to get the stuff down from the sides there, but you can see it's not a smooth puree. You want to be able to see the different bits in there.
Yeah, you can get a little.
Yes, I'm going to do a little bit more.
Okay, don't need to micromanage.
No, it's okay. I just want to get the stuff. There are a couple of bigger chunks up on the sides.
Smells fantastic.
It really does, doesn't it? And maybe one more go. Always better to do less, because you can't take it back afterwards. Okay, jerk master, what do you think?
I'm not sure if I like that connotation or not. But...
I'm sorry, but you are the dude in our house who makes the jerk most often.
It's quite delicious. I would add a little bit of salt. It's very, very good. Wow,
Okay.
That's good.
Since you tasted it, you tell me. Like that?
Yeah, you could start there.
And maybe another
Oh,
one?
yeah, that's good. Okay, now swish it around, and I think you're good to go. Wow, it's such a long flavor on it. Unreal.
Yep. So it starts out, you get the hit of the lime juice, which is the acid part of that, and the allspice. And then it just it goes right along your tongue, and it keeps going back and back and back. The heat hits you in the throat. Really, really good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this in a tub. Actually, maybe not all of it. I don't know if we need all of it. What we don't use, before you put it in with any meat, do not save the marinade. If it's been in with raw meat, please. But if you think you have more than you need, take some out and pop it either in a jar in the fridge or pop it into something and put it in the freezer, and it'll be great when you're in the depths of winter and you want some beautiful jerk heat. You can pull that out and marinate whatever you want to cook that night. But we're going to make chicken wings with this tonight, and I hope you enjoyed how easy it is to make jerk sauce for whatever protein you want, because it's real food.